Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different and honestly, incredibly exciting. We are merging a U.S. government framework, a cutting-edge 2025 academic finance study, and a legendary book on psychology. Why? Because we want to uncover the hidden psychological forces of finance and figure out exactly what drives the money choices you make every single day.
Okay, let's dive right into this. If money is really just math, basic addition, subtraction, compound interest, why do we feel so guilty about our choices? Why do otherwise brilliant people fall for basic sales tactics or panic and sell everything the minute the market dips? There's this massive disconnect between what our spreadsheets tell us to do and what we actually end up doing.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with beyond the numbers, move into the inner game, explore the outer game, cross the risk-attitude bridge, and finally, we'll talk about achieving financial well-being.
Section 1. Beyond the numbers.
Right off the bat, we have to dismantle a super common myth, this idea that financial literacy alone is your golden ticket. The U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau actually put out a landmark report making this exact point. A high score on a math quiz doesn't mean you win at money. The ultimate goal is financial well-being. That means having personal financial security and the actual freedom of choice to just enjoy your life.
But man, achieving that state is tough when you look at the baseline. A 2025 study on equity investors found that only 27% of Indian adults are financially literate. Think about that. That is a massive gap in numerical knowledge across the population. I mean, if you don't understand the basics of inflation or diversification, you are already operating at a severe disadvantage.
But here's the kicker. Addressing that knowledge gap is literally just step one, because even if you know the math inside and out, you are constantly caught in a tug-of-war. On one side, we've got internal forces, our self-awareness and our ability to regulate our emotions. On the other side, we have external forces. These are the psychological traps set by marketers and society, things like scarcity and social proof. To win with money, we have to manage the internal while fiercely defending against the external.
Section 2. The inner game. Emotional intelligence.
To really grasp our inner game, we're going to look at that fascinating 2025 study of 674 equity investors. The data here is just incredible. They found an R-squared value of 0.78. What does that mean in plain English? It means an astonishing 78% of the variance in your investment decisions is explained by just three traits: financial literacy, emotional intelligence, and risk attitude. Almost 80% of your financial choices come down to this specific trio.
Now, what's really interesting about this regression analysis is the specific weights. Financial knowledge is the strongest predictor with a coefficient of 0.22. Well, that makes sense, right? But right behind it is the regulation of emotion, sitting at 0.12. This proves mathematically that keeping your emotions in check isn't just fluffy self-help advice, it's a fundamentally crucial factor in sound investing.
The researchers actually use this brilliant metaphor that I absolutely love. They call emotional intelligence a shock absorber for market stress. When the market gets incredibly volatile and your portfolio drops, that emotional regulation literally absorbs the panic. It prevents you from impulsively selling at the bottom, keeping you objectively focused on your long-term growth goals.
Section 3. The outer game. Persuasion.
So, regulating our internal state is great, but it's only half the battle. We also have to defend against those external traps. In Robert Cialdini's groundbreaking book, Influence, he identifies 7 universal principles of persuasion, like reciprocity, authority, and unity. Marketers use these mental shortcuts to trigger automatic, almost stereotyped compliance in our wallets. Let's look a bit closer at 2 of the heavy hitters.
First up is social proof. You know the feeling. When markets are ambiguous, maybe it's a confusing new cryptocurrency or a wild meme stock rally, we instinctively look to what everyone else is doing to determine the correct behavior. And this triggers a herd mentality. It causes copycat investing that can be absolutely disastrous when the crowd is wrong or just acting purely on hype.
Then there's scarcity. Let me ask you, have you ever bought something literally just because a little countdown timer on the website said you only had 15 minutes left? Yeah, that's the scarcity principle at work. The threat of missing out completely overrides our logical financial analysis. We stop asking, does this make financial sense? And we immediately start asking, how do I get this before it's gone forever?
Section 4. The risk-attitude bridge.
So, what actually links our internal knowledge and external defenses to the final choice we make? And this brilliantly illustrates that exact mechanism. The study mathematically proved that our risk attitude acts as a vital mediator. You see, emotionally regulated investors don't just avoid risk out of fear. They evaluate the situation calmly and they take calculated, healthy risks.
If we take that pretty dense academic analysis and break it down, it maps out a remarkably simple, linear journey for making a truly rational financial decision. Step 1, you combine your structural financial literacy with the emotional intelligence to stay calm. Step 2, you filter that information through a healthy, calculated risk attitude. And step 3, you execute a confident investment decision, entirely free from both internal panic and external manipulation.
Section 5. Achieving financial well-being.
So, the crucial point here is that this all brings us full circle. The grand conclusion across all our sources today is that money isn't just math, not even close. To achieve true financial well-being, like the CFPB talked about, you need a dual-pronged approach. You absolutely must master the numbers, for sure, but you have to combine that with the psychological resilience to defend against market manipulation, persuasion, and your own internal panic.
I want to leave you with a thought to really spark some self-reflection about your own habits. The next time you pull out your credit card, or the very next time you click buy or sell on an investment account, I want you to ask yourself, who is really making this decision? Is it your logic, your unchecked emotions, or is it a marketer pulling the strings? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the hidden forces around you.